This is a very interesting topic, friends, the topic of loans. That's why I return to it from time to time to give you another portion of my thoughts that will help you understand why these loans are needed at all and how we should treat them. This article will talk about how profitable it is to take out a loan and whether it is profitable at all, credit, and everything connected with it. This is one of those topics that needs to be studied in as much detail as possible, for the reason that our lives today are highly dependent on loans. Some people cannot imagine their lives without loans at all, because they do not see any other opportunity for themselves to have everything that they so badly want to have. And you know what? They are partly right. Because when we talk about credit, we are talking about the rules by which we can be said to be forced to live. Credit is a delicate matter if you think about it. On the one hand, we are talking about affordable money that almost every working person can take today, but on the other hand, it smacks of some kind of credit slavery, because of which people always owe something to someone. Well, or rather, it's not something abstract that people owe, and not to someone unknown to someone, but they owe money that they borrow from the bank at interest. But, to be more precise, people must work like hell to pay off their debts, because no one gives money to anyone. This is the main task of loans. They force us to work hard, and not only for ourselves, but also for a whole army of parasites that sit on the necks of working people. And yet, people take out these same loans, for some reason, and for some reason they take them. If we talk about why they take them, then the answer is obvious, because they give them. The people's logic is very simple and straightforward. If they give it, then they have to take it. And if we talk about why people take out loans, then here we should pay attention to those, so to speak, delights that modern consumers can afford thanks to a loan. After all, thanks to a loan, people can afford to get housing in the form of a concrete box, a car made by the Chinese, regardless of the brand, all sorts of fashionable tchotchkes and high-tech iron like an iPhone, which is not really needed for hell, but it's so cool to have such a toy. Also, people can afford a good vacation and a more or less normal education, and even create a business with the money they take out on credit. This is how many delights have become available to people thanks to loans. And you and I are surprised why people are all over-leveraged. Don't play around. People want to live, you understand, to live. Enough. People are tired of existing in poverty, living from a penny to a penny. They have plowed their way, working hard for a great idea and a bright future that has not come and will not come. Now people want to live here and now, grabbing everything they can grab, and power allows people to live and not exist, only on credit, because it is important for it that you and I work for it, for power, and we plow by the foot, our mother, take out loans, buy ourselves everything we want, and then plow like hell to pay off all our debts. What can we do if nothing else is offered to us, if there are no other options for a more or less worthy existence, for an ordinary person? Many people simply cannot fight for the same power because of their slavish mentality, and therefore they do not want to meddle in what they do not understand a damn thing. Not everyone will become a bandit either. For this you need to have the appropriate psyche, and why risk your life for the sake of money if the money itself is needed specifically for life? As for business, you understand that in order to successfully engage in it, you need to be able to do a lot and know a lot. You need to generally devote yourself to this business, which again, for a number of reasons, not every person is inclined to do. So the vast majority of people have only one thing left: to take out a loan and live. Of course, we can live without loans, this is obvious to any sane person. But, you see, it will be a somewhat ascetic way of life, to which it is difficult to become addicted, observing around you all this variety of benefits that mere mortals can afford, solely thanks to credit. Let's say a person wants to have his own car in order to feel like a person, but where can he get the necessary amount of money to buy this car? That's right, only in the bank, at interest. After all, if we lay out our wages in front of us in order to try to understand how we can buy a car with it without resorting to a loan, then no accounting department will lead us to this option. No matter how much you count and how you don't count, and if you are really poor, then what the hell will you buy for yourself, and you won't have anything in your life. Not a car, not an apartment, not other expensive things, unless you use a loan. And so thanks to the loan, you friends can at least seem rich. Yes, you will work all day long, mostly for another uncle, for your modest wages, to give your vital energy to the bank in parts, for several years. But, I repeat once again, if you are a simple person who is not going to change the world, who is not going to learn something that will allow you to increase your social status and get big money, then you have nothing else but a blood-sucking loan. Therefore, if you ask me about why it is profitable to take out a loan, then I will answer you, therefore it will allow you to live. Yes, it is to live and not to exist and not to survive, although life on credit is difficult to call life, but it is much better than the life that people live, who have no opportunity at all to consume what they need and what they want. You and I were raised, or rather trained, so that we could plow, fight, serve, and entertain the elite part of our society, the very part that has power over us and that lives at our expense. You, friends, if you try, can become part of this power elite. You can, so to speak, join its ranks. But most of us will still be forced to serve and process this bunch of select people for the rest of our lives. The only question is under what conditions, or better yet, by what rules, you will work as laborers for these gentlemen who do not even consider you as people. You are a powerless cattle for them. This I hope you understand. For the sake of the opportunity to consume, you will seek power, or out of fear of violence against yourself, you will work hard for it, or because of something else, and for some reason, it depends on the regime. Now, if the USSR had won the Cold War, then you would have lived by completely different rules. By what rules exactly, and under what conditions? And you ask your parents, or if you are young, ask your grandparents, under what conditions they worked all day long in a production that was ruining their health. Some of them, I suppose, are still afraid of Stalin and the NKVD. Haven't you figured out what the Cold War really was yet? It was a test of how it would be more profitable to exploit slaves with the help of carrots in the form of money, or with the help of sticks in the form of fear and violence, along with tales of a bright future. It was a global experiment on slaves, and stupid Ivan on the one hand and stupid Johnny on the other tore their asses in order to harm each other. Thank God that money won. Otherwise, the whole world today would live according to the laws of communism, which I personally am not happy about. You know, I'm not particularly attracted to censorship, equalization, scarcity, and lack of private property, as well as the lack of human rights. I don't want to be we, I want to be I, that is, a person, not a crowd. Well, this is all, of course, my special personal opinion. You have the right to disagree with it. I am absolutely convinced that at this point in time, credit is the lesser evil associated with managing people. After all, when there is something to compare with, this so-called credit slavery, you begin to look at it with different eyes. So, yes, living on credit is a modern model of slavery, it is, but what alternative model of the structure of society can you offer in return? Well, which one? Do you have any ideas about this? If they are not there, then there is nothing to talk about. Just take out loans and live as long as possible. I have other options for organizing the life of society, and soon I will present them on this site, but for now, I am not ready to criticize the current model of managing people with the help of loans, because I understand that there must still be something that will manage people. Because people cannot live without management, or rather, they cannot live in a civilized manner. If you doubt it, you can live in a wild tribe. There you will see savages ruling each other. That is why it is profitable to take out a loan, because if we do not take it, then firstly, we will never feel the taste of life without consuming what we want to consume, and secondly, those in power will have to somehow stimulate us to slave labor. And if we refuse to work for carrots, in the form of a loan, then I assume that they will start driving us to work with a stick. In general, choose. Either you take out a loan and live within the opportunities that the system provides you, or you do not take out a loan and lead an ascetic lifestyle, depriving yourself of many joys available for a loan, and expect that you will be forced to work if there are a lot of ascetic slackers. After all, the system cannot afford to have a large number of lazy slaves. It has no use for them. So far, this is the only way we can do it.